also joined by a panel of speakers. We have Tazos Alexio from RFelements. We have Dave Thomas from VISPnet and Sakit Ahmed from the Cambium team with responsibility on the ePMP platform. So we're excited to talk today about a new offer we have specifically for wireless ISPs that are new to Cambium and new to ePMP. And we're going to go through the offering that we have, and then also a little detail about each of the company's products and offerings as they kind of fit together. And what we're really trying to do here with this offer is bring together all the elements of the ecosystem to be able to help you expand your network or start up your network as a WISP new to Cambium. And one of the things that we do with ePMP and Cambium products in general is try to offer that complete solution end to end with lots of different elements of the radio portion of the network. And what we're excited to offer here as well is things around planning, billing and automation, and some specialized horn antennas from RFelements that really help for extending capacity and coverage. So let me jump into it, the actual offering here, and then we're going to go through this in a lot more detail. Again, I remind you that if you have any questions, we certainly encourage you to put those into the interface on the webinar, and we'll take those as they come. I expect the presentation will be about 25-30 minutes, and then we'll have plenty of time for Q&A. Also, this is being recorded, so if you want to share it with your colleagues, you'll be able to find this on the website at cambiumnetworks.com. So here's what we're offering, a starter bundle or promotion that is for a WISP that's new to Cambium, new to ePMP. And what we want to provide with one set price is a set of radios, an access point, which is our flagship ePMP product, which is the 4x4 MUMIMO with a sector antenna to support lots of capacity, or you can use its little brother, which we call the 3000L, and we'll get into that in more detail. Also comes with 12 Force 325 subscriber modules. That's our SM that provides the best range and distance. We include a connectorized subscriber module. We include a CN Heat trial. CN Heat is our pre-qualification and planning tool to help understand where I can reach new customers and actually convert those to addresses that I can market to. Taz is going to talk about an RFelements offering and what they bring to the table with a twist port adapter and horn antennas. And then Dave will talk about VISPnet and their billing and automation services. And then finally, in order to put all this together, we're offering a couple hours of time with one of our senior network engineers to help you understand what's the best practices in the industry, what are we seeing different people do when they first get started out with ePMP, and how to avoid those mistakes that you might make out of the gate. So it really is a way to get started and up to speed quickly. So all of that is available at a very low price. You can see that $19.95 for the ePMP 3000, and if you want the 3000L, it's $15.95. This is for North America only. If you're listening in from outside of North America, drop me a note or drop us a note. We may have some opportunities for you as well. And then the landing page for any of you that are interested in pursuing this is to go to this URL that's listed on the slide here. You can see a registration page, and when you register and provide your information, then we'll reach out to you and get you connected with one of our channel partners. And if you're a channel partner at Cambium's or one of our partners on the call today, we encourage you to direct customers or end users, new WISPs, over to this URL, and then we'll connect you with them on the back end through our sales team. So we're trying to make it simple as we can. And again, if you have any questions at all whatsoever, drop them in the note, or you can always drop me an email afterwards. So with that, Sakit, I'm going to hand it over to you, and maybe you can give us just a quick or a rundown of what ePMP is all about.
Super, Bruce. Thank you very much. I'll leave it to you to flip through the slides as we go through. We wanted to spend a few minutes just to talk about the ePMP platform, assuming that many of the attendees here may have heard about ePMP from other fellow WISPs or the first time hearing about it. So it's important that you get a high-level overview of what we can do in our differentiation. So first and foremost, the platform itself, you may or may not know, we had a long heritage at Cambium Networks around GPS sync, which essentially allows you to reuse a frequency on back-to-back sectors as well as neighboring towers. It's one of our core strengths, and that is one of the foundations of the ePMP platform. And 3000, 3000L both have a highly functioning GPS sync firmware or software solution that allows you to reuse frequency. Scalability on the platform has also been one of our key differentiators. As you increase the number of subscribers in a PMP environment, 50, 60, 80 SMs, you don't see the dramatic performance impact in things like TCP. Air fairness, which has been a common problem in other platforms out there, where a weak SM will take up a lot of airtime and cause impact to good SMs in the network. That's also a feature set that we have. And interference performance. This has been one of our biggest strengths, and there's thousands of customers that can vouch for the performance improvements when they move to ePMP as a platform. And this is magnified or strengthened even more as you attach yourself to the horn antennas from RFelements. The whole story with performance under interference becomes absolutely an industry-leading feature. If you're new to the product line, the UI is pretty simple. If you've used Ubiquiti UIs in the past or MikroTik, the shift is not too challenging. We'll help you work through that. We do have a lot of statistics to troubleshoot, understand the behavior. And then last but not least, CN Maestro, which is a management platform, and it's free of charge for doing provisioning, onboarding, troubleshooting, integrated with Google Maps, looking at alarm statistics, software upgrades. All of that can be done via CN Maestro, which is available on the cloud as well as an on-premise version. So this is more or less of the platform story. Bruce, if you don't mind switching to the next slide. As we talk about 11AC, this is kind of important. There are vendors out there selling AC products. The 11AC that is in the market today, a lot of it is the Wave 1 solution that gives you a high modulation and 80 megahertz channel. Cambium is Wave 2. We have a higher coding rate, so you get a little bit of boost, and the multi-user MIMO, which is absolutely one of the key differentiators for us. We have two overlapping 90-degree antennas, as you can see in the top right picture, that leverages beamforming, and you're able to get an additional 3 dB of gain when not doing MU-MIMO, even for a single subscriber. When you have MU-MIMO and you have traffic where it's congestion is happening, this MU-MIMO can give you 40 to 70% gain on a system. And the bottom right picture kind of shows you how the access point is able to talk to 2 subscribers at the same time. This really is a key advantage of the 3000 platform. There's a 4x4 receive, so there's multiple transmitters and receivers. It's a 4x4 system, so that you get another additional 3 dB of gain in the uplink, which is helpful for link budget. Dynamic filtering, and then a optional beam steering antenna, which we brought forward from our ePMP 2000 platform. Last but not least, we continue to support elevated subscribers. If you happen to have 11N subscribers in the network from third-party companies, in many cases, we will support elevated SMs that will contact or connect to the 3000 platform. Next slide, Bruce. A little bit on the longer-term benefits. This is beyond AC. This is beyond ePMP. This is more about a partnership with Cambium. We are looking at product roadmap feature set that more or less provides an investment protection for you, and there's as well as a strategic benefit. It's a long-term story. Every ACSM, whether you participate in this program or you don't participate and buy this on your own, every ACSM you deploy today will be compatible with an 8x8 multi-user MIMO AP, which is the ePMP 4000. This is down the road in the distant future, but what we want to convey that is our philosophy is that we will support compatibility with APs and SMs in the future, and that is helps you tremendously in improving your access point performance without having to do truck roll for subscribers. Cambium focus is on multi-user MIMO. You have heard things about higher modulations like 1024 QAM, etc., from LTU platform. But our philosophy has been about leveraging multiple transmitters and receivers, because when you look at things like IEEE, 3GPP, or 5G, multi-user MIMO is the answer to spectral efficiency and getting more bandwidth at the base station. Higher modulation can easily be disrupted with noise. So can multi-user MIMO, but even in the presence of noise, if you're able to send traffic to multiple subscribers, you are going to have a considerable advantage. Cambium support at many levels. Accessing and Cambium Engineer is very easy. You go to support, you ask to escalate. Many customers are able to talk to us directly. You don't have to rely only on a forum. And of course, 3-year warranty and a company that is by your side that speaks more than just the product itself, and it's a longer-term relationship. And with that, I'll let Bruce kind of go over the portfolio.
Okay, thanks, Sakid. So just real quickly, just so you can kind of see how this all fits together, the access point or the hub and the hub and spoke architecture is in this offer is either our ePMP 3000, which is the 4x4 MIMO, multi-user MIMO technology that Sakid mentioned. So you have that as one option, and that provides the highest capacity and performance. We also are offering the ePMP 3000L, which I usually call it as a little brother. It's a 2x2 MIMO. It does not give you that multi-user MIMO, but it gives you all the other benefits that ePMP brings. And the only reason to show the other access points on this chart is that the 3000 is the 3rd generation of ePMP. While we continue to sell the previous generations, the 3000 is the latest and greatest. And just as importantly, though, is we've maintained compatibility as customers have been with us from the 1000 to the 2000 and now the 3000. Those subscriber modules that they deploy continue to be compatible. And as Sakid mentioned, on into the future with 11AX and Y6 type products, that compatibility story will continue. We'll talk about this in more detail, but Tazos has some offerings around horn antennas. This particular offering is if you use a 3000L, you can use that twist port adapter and connect to a horn antenna. If you use the 3000, then you'll see in the lower left there under the 3000 is the 4x4 MIMO sector antenna. So that would be also part of this offering. We offer a wide variety of subscriber modules. This particular offering is using the Force 325, so there's 12 of those included, plus which gives you that best gain and longest distance. We certainly have other products that you can kind of tune the deployment to the distance and range that you're looking for, and there's cost-benefit trade-offs as you go across this portfolio. We're also including a Force 300 CSM or connectorized SM, so you can use that with an external horn to kind of specialized applications. Maybe you want to get a longer distance link, you can put a higher gain antenna on there and do something with the connectorized SM. So that's kind of in summary the ePMP portion of the whole bundle and kit. Tazos, I'm going to hand over to you, and can you take us through RFelements?
Yeah, sounds good. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay?
Yep, perfect.
Perfect, awesome. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Tassos, and I'm with RFelements. So we're going to kind of take you through a really quick kind of high level what we do and how our product works, and then we'll build into the offering and stuff like that. So you jumped a slide, go back one. Oh, interesting. Okay, well, slide's missing there, I'm sorry. So you know, at RFelements, we solve the problem of noise, right? And we do that in a couple of different ways. The first way is by creating a very unique antenna, right, that has very good noise isolation and noise mitigating properties. That's our horn antenna. The second way we do this is by really creating this big ecosystem, right, of no loss or near zero loss adapters for different types of radios out there. And when you combine these two mechanisms together, you really get the kind of massive scalability that WISPs need today to not only deliver higher speed packages to their customers, but also at the same time increasing the density and the number of connections that your network needs to support. So we did a kind of a poll a few years ago, and we asked WISPs what their biggest issues are, right? What's the biggest problems that they're facing? And if we look at the top three, the first one was lack of spectrum, and that's the lack of new spectrum and only a finite area of spectrum in which you can operate in. The number two issue was RF noise and interference. Again, the noise floor keeps growing, and you start running into more and more issues. And then finally, the growing demand for more throughput. So when we looked at this whole pie, we realized that really the first three parts, lack of spectrum, the growing demand for throughput, and interference, was all created and all the same problem. It's really noise. Can you go to the next slide? So if we look at like noise generation, right, these are simulations of what the RF looks like when it leaves an antenna, right? So if we look in the top left, this is kind of your standard 90-degree patch array sector antenna. And if we look at this RF pattern as it leaves the antenna, you can see that it's actually radiating much wider than it's supposed to. It's really almost effective as a 180-degree sector. And you can see a lot of RF leaking out the back. So this is kind of where this technology started. If you look below that, you can see the same type of 90-degree patch array sector antenna with these aftermarket shield kits that people started building in order to try and make these antennas behave more like what you would expect. And you can see that putting the shield kits on still disrupts the main beam and creates side lobes, right? So the antenna still radiates much wider than it's supposed to, and you still get leakage out the back. If we go to the top right, you kind of see kind of today's standard for patch array sector technologies, right? So manufacturers have said, well, let's make them even more narrow, right? So that way they're not as overall wide. And you can see when you highly manipulate the natural beam of a patch array sector, you start seeing other effects. And in case of this one here, you can see that the signal is not even coming straight out of the antenna. It's kind of skewed to the left. Still have side lobes coming out the side, and you still have leakage out the back. So, none of these things have really, been able to kind of take patch array sectors to where they need to be to mitigate noise. And finally, on the bottom right, we can see your standard kind of parabolic dish antenna. So although the parabolic dish antenna normally has a very narrow main beam on your spec sheet, you can see that when you look at all the side lobes that they have, it still radiates much wider than you would think. Next slide. So here you see what real noise rejection is. These are two different types of horn antennas. You have a symmetrical horn antenna on the right and kind of our higher gain ultra horn on the left. So this is what antenna patterns should look like. They should be highly precise. They should have zero side lobes. They shouldn't leak out the back, right? So you can see a very uniform, very well-balanced main beam and nothing but the main beam. So no side lobes at all. And this is how noise rejection of these antennas work, because the side lobes can't hear or don't hear, because they're non-existent, signals that are coming from out of the angle. So if it's coming in the front is the only way the signal enters the antenna. Next slide. So to kind of sum it up, right, if we look at the kind of competitive sector antenna technology in a highly co-located deployment, you can see the center region where all the side lobes interact with each other and overlap. Where the antenna regions are, they go much wider than they should be based on their spec sheets. You can see this creates a high level of contention between the access points or the antennas, and therefore a high noise environment reduces your overall network throughput. On the right, when you see how precise the radiation angles are for horn antennas and the good noise isolation, you can see that you can co-locate a lot of these antennas to get together and therefore create a highly dense network and increase your overall throughput and the number of connections. Next slide. Oh, another missing slide. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. So here's some of the real world deployments, right? So, not only do our spec sheets speak for the performance, and not only do we tell you how it works, this is your fellow brother and sister WISPs using our antenna technology. So you can see in the real world, they do co-locate the way we say they can because of the excellent noise rejection and absence of all side lobes. If you look on the right, you can see there's actually 16 APs and 16 30-degree horns on that tower. So again, the densities that we're talking about, the animations that we put out there, and all the stuff you hear us say and you hear other people say, I mean, this is just really the way it is in the real world, right? So it does work, not just us saying it. Next slide. So again, here's another kind of installation example. This has now become kind of the new standard for your high density deployments where people are stacking, you know, 3 30-degree symmetrical horns or asymmetrical horns for that matter to cover a 90-degree area, and therefore you get 3 times the density of APs in the same vertical space of one traditional sector. Okay, next slide. Oh, okay, it was just out of order. So here's our actual product map. So if we look at the top row of products, this is our symmetrical beam pattern antennas that have our Twistport ecosystem. The Twistport ecosystem are these waveguide connector adapters that allow you to take third-party radios and connect them to and use them. Below that, we also have our carrier class version, right, which are connectorized horns. Below that, we have our asymmetrical beam pattern antennas, and these are antennas that have an asymmetrical beam or more sector-like beam where it's much wider and flatter, more what you're used to. And then our different Twistport adapters. Next slide. So for Cambium, we have, again, the Twistport ecosystem of Twistport adapters support the 3000L, the 300 CSM, which is the connectorized subscriber module Bruce talked about earlier. Both of the ePMP 2000s, I believe there's one with and one without sync, possibly, and the same thing with the ePMP 1000 series. So again, if you're using any of these or you're looking to use any of these, we have a Twistport adapter for you. If you're looking to try the 3000, right, we have our connectorized or our carrier class version of horns that can support the 3000, and again all the way through the 450 series, the 550, 670, and even 700. So basically any 5 gigahertz Cambium radio that we do not have a Twistport adapter for, you simply use our carrier class connectorized, and we give you 2 end connectors to make it quite simple to connect. Next slide. So some of the long-term advantages, right? So by, you know, moving over to horn antenna technology, you really start to free up more spectrum because it's a more efficient method and a more precise method. You can typically run smaller channels and still deliver the higher speed packages that you want because it's more efficient at doing that, right? It gives you the ability to, again, sell higher service packages or higher speed packages to user because you can have more access point density on your tower and therefore less subscribers per AP and therefore have higher packages. Again, more access points per tower for higher aggregate throughput of your tower. It gives you this massive scalability because, you know, again, we make horn antennas from everywhere from 30 degrees to 90 degrees wide. So it really allows you to scale your network up, use the appropriate amount of gain for the distances you're covering, and therefore give you some real smart and sustainable growth. Low cost of ownership, again, less truck rolls to fix issues because you have less impact for noise, you're not changing channels as frequently, you're not having to realign CPEs. You get really quick and easy maintenance. The Twistport ecosystem makes it really simple to connect and disconnect antennas. Upgrade, right? If you go from N to AC and later with Cambium to AX, the antenna stays, right? So again, you can just upgrade your Twistport adapter and radio, and really gives you some simple migration as you build through the different generations of Cambium radio systems on your network in the future. Last slide. Okay, so as far as our giveaway goes, again, this is kind of the product line that it's tailored for. So on the top left, you see our symmetrical horn antennas, right? So our symmetrical horns come in 30 to 90 degrees and 10 degree steps. So based on your installation, what you're trying to do, we'll go ahead and pick and design which horn antenna would be best for you. We also have our asymmetrical horn series. We have 3 different flavors. We have a 30, a 60, and a 90-degree asymmetrical horn that you can use. Again, based on your deployment, we'll go through and decide which is best for you. And our 30-degree asymmetrical horn has a beam switch feature, so we can actually rotate the antenna 90 degrees and give you a more narrow 20-degree slice, sorry, if necessary. And then finally, the twist port adapters at the bottom, just so you can see, for the 3000, the 1000, and the 2000 series, we have adapters, and you can see the radio simply slides up and locks in place, and then you can twist it onto our twist port interface and connect. So to kind of wrap this up, as we move forward, and if you decide to go ahead, you'll also get engineering hours, so to speak, with RFelements, where we'll look again at your specific deployment, how you want to deploy this gear on your network, and we'll go ahead and help you choose the right antenna for the job. Thank you.
All right, that's great. That's thanks, Tazos. That's a nice summary, and I really appreciate you guys participating in this offer as we make it easier for to WISP to get started with ePMP. We truly are seeing horn antennas increase in popularity for WISPs as they either look to inject additional capacity or to extend their coverage into some new areas with these horn antennas. So really a trend to keep a close eye on if you're already a WISP, and certainly invite you to participate in this to get to get one in your hands and get some experience with it. With that, I'm going to hand over to Dave Thomas from VISPnet, and then and Dave, you can tell us a little bit about what you guys are involved in.
Sure. So guys, I'm Dave Thomas, obviously with VISP. And so we're a billing and automation provider. And so our goal is to take this really cool gear that you guys buy from these 2 companies and turn it into what you bought the gear for, and that's profit. So our billing system is how we do that, obviously. And so the billing system is cloud-based. We've been a cloud-based billing and automation provider for a little over 27 years. Currently we have about 30 developers, QA testers, and client support staff members that are on the team. We're a privately held company. We're debt-free. The billing system is hosted by both Amazon and Google, so it's in the cloud. And a lot of the technology that you see in the billing system comes from Facebook, such as the system's ability to push updates to the page without page refreshes. It's a massively scalable system. The system includes radius authentication, and we support using DHCP, MAC, Hotspot, Option 82, and PPPoE. The system integrates with your network through your routers. Support is also included and it's free. So VISP works 20 hours a day. We have 2 split shifts that are in teams. The development teams come in at night. They work from 2 o'clock in the afternoon Pacific time till 2 o'clock in the morning Pacific time. And then the support teams come in at 6 a.m. and they work until 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. On the weekends, we monitor all our channels are monitored live for 2-hour shifts between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. on the weekends. And they're to support anything that pops up that are WISP issues or any emergencies that would happen to arise during our off times. So Bruce, if you'll move to the next slide. So what's the value that VISP brings to your WISP? So there are only 3 ways to grow a business. And it doesn't matter what business you're in. You can be selling shoelaces or you could be selling luxury cars. There's only 3 ways to grow a business. And VISP leverages everything we do into these 3 verticals. So those 3 ways are: you get more customers, you get customers to buy more from you at each visit, and you get customers to repeat business with you more often. So in the WISP world, we look at that as subscribers. So the idea is, how do you get more subscribers? How do we help you do that? How do you get those subscribers to buy more services from you? And then how do you get those subscribers to stay with you longer? Because those are the only ways you can grow as a WISP. So the way VISP looks at that is we look at field activation servers that would help speed up onboarding and make it quick and easy to deploy hotspots. So you can literally have installers. We have WISP that have installer teams. They go out, cold call, knock on doors, 1 salesperson to 2 installers. They'll sell an account, slap the installer on it, and the guy keeps knocking doors till the second guy's in. And by the time the second guy's in, the third guy's about wrapping up, and they move to activating the third person. So the activation servers have proven to be very successful at getting people to onboard quicker, and then it makes it super easy to do hotspots in marinas and RV parks or any place where you can deploy those that your network already reaches. We also provide captive portals, and these are already developed for you. We brand these to your colors, your logos, everything is branded to you. And those captive portals keep you paid, and they simplify the reactivation process after a customer makes a payment. So one of the hard parts is customers make payment. It could take an hour or so before you can get them turned back on. Our system, it's instant. You get subscribers to buy more services. So updating speeds and packages is so simple. It's just a real quick drag and drop process. The billing system actually updates the invoices and auto provisions subscribers access in real time. So there's no need to access any of your mission critical hardware. And nobody has to log into routers. The next way that we help you grow is keeping your subscribers longer, and we do that by keeping the billing system very intuitive. So the web-based system, it's intuitive for your teams. They can find subscriber information really fast. They can resolve billing issues quickly, and they can reduce support call times. And then you have access for your subscribers to access their account from the web. So there's a full portal that allows them to do things like see their usage, pay their bills, update their credit cards, print invoices, request upgrades. They could even, if they're at a hotspot or marina, they can even log onto their portal and add the MAC address for their Xboxes and PlayStations and smart TVs. Things like that can all be done by the customer through the portal. And it automates a lot of the billing. So our philosophy is happy customers stay your customers longer, which is one of the reasons why VISP doesn't do terms. VISP doesn't make people sign 3-year, 2-year, 5-year terms. We do everything month to month. Our philosophy is if you're happy with us, you'll never leave. So we'll do everything we can to make you happy. So as a WISP, it's really important that you choose vendors that align their systems and their products that support your business goals. So good, Bruce, next slide. So VISP really focuses on streamlining your operations, giving you more control over the subscriber experience, and then facilitating your growth. So the real question is like, how important really is your success? So you can count on VISP to give you a secured 24/7, 365 connection to the VISP success team. We do this through a live group collaboration platform. The platform has live coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, and it's monitored nights and weekends. The real-time connection on the collaboration platform makes it really clear who's available to assist you, because everybody's identified with little green and red dots, so you can tell who's there and who's not there and who's available. We also offer weekly roundtable meetings, and these are every Tuesday night. And these weekly roundtable meetings are facilitated by our CEO and our CTO. And the purpose of those roundtable meetings on Tuesdays at 3 is to give your voice, or your WISP, a voice in the process of development for the product. Everything we develop comes through our ISP clients. So that's what VISP does for you guys. So thanks a lot for taking the time to visit with us today. Bruce?
Okay, thanks, Dave. And we'll come back and summarize what the offering and the promotion. I know there's a few people that had to join a few minutes late, so we'll come back and summarize that at the end. There's one more aspect of the offering that I wanted to cover briefly. We have when Cambium looks at deploying a wireless network for a service provider, we look at not just the radio, but some of the tools that are needed around that. So as you dig into this deeper, you'll see references to things like Link Planner. You'll see Sakid mentioned CN Maestro, which is a network management system. Link Planner is really useful for setting up a point A to point B link and figuring out exactly what availability and capacity is available from point A to point B. But what we've recently added is a capability called CN Heat. And this is really about how do I find subscribers? And then once I find them, how do I increase my likelihood of success in installing that customer in a single trip with an accurate and predictable level of performance? So when I get these calls, I don't have a lot of false installs or missed installs. I can actually go out and leverage my installation crew more effectively. The way CN Heat works is it takes LiDAR data and comes up with a very precise mapping of heat map of where can I get signal and at what level. So we have some demonstration sites, and part of this offering is we'll be providing a free tower's worth of planning. So once you get your equipment, you select where you want to put it, and we'll give you a detailed heat map of that tower location, along with the physical mailing addresses of potential customers that you can go market the service to. So encourage you to take a look at the demonstration site, cnheat.cambiumnetworks.com. A little bit about how it works. Here you can see an example down to the detail. When a customer calls in interested in your service, you can bring up that map. Here is this address up in the upper left there. And you can see precisely where could I install that antenna on that rooftop. And this is, you can see those sliders in the lower left. You can adjust those sliders based on what's your target signal strength that you're looking to achieve based on a level of performance and service plan that you're offering. You can also say what height above the rooftop are you willing to do. In this case, it's just a 1 foot height off the rooftop. So I'm just using a standard antenna mount. If you're looking to do a masted type or a standoff type antenna, you could raise that up to 6 feet, for example, and you could see if there's other locations for where I could install that. So I can very precisely and very, you know, when I send that installer to that home, not only can I go ahead and sign this customer up and say, yes, I can provide service to you, but when I send the installer, I can say, look, you're going to have to get up on the roof. Here's a location that we recommend you install it. And that level of precision is made available through this very precise LiDAR data that we're able to integrate into the CNHeat service. Here's another example of a home where the data from CNHeat basically says, oh, we cannot get a antenna on the roof, but look, there's some places in the yard, so we could put the antenna on the ground in the yard and find a spot there in the back corner of the property to install your antenna. So it's a system where the installer doesn't have to go out and waste a lot of time trying to find the signal on the rooftop. They know exactly where to go and place that antenna. As far as identifying, you can see exactly which homes I can actually reach, homes or small businesses, wherever, and then identify those actual addresses that I can go out and market the information to or market the service to as I expand my WISP. So part of the promotion offering is to give you a sample of this. Again, you get a tower's worth along with up to 500 addresses that you can market to. Before I go back and summarize the program and the promotion, I do want to say that if you're joined the webinar today and maybe you're already a ePMP WISP, we certainly appreciate your business. If you're an ePMP WISP and you have a colleague that's interested in taking, that you might want to introduce this offer to, we have something for you as well. So if you refer a WISP that's not currently a Cambium WISP to use this program, you can earn some free equipment. So if you refer a WISP that's new, they sign up for this promotion, you can get a free access point. So it's pretty compelling. And the nice thing is, the more of your neighbors and colleagues that are adjacent to your system that are using Cambium, with synchronization, the noise floor goes down for everybody, and the systems all just work better, and we take better care of that precious resource of spectrum. So encourage you to take a look at this promotion as well if you're currently an ePMP WISP. But let's circle back to the promotion. Let me summarize it again, and then I'll ask each of Tazos and Dave to maybe comment on what you're planning to offer as part of this promotion. And then I saw that there's quite a few questions that have come in, so we'll take those questions as we wrap up. To summarize the promotion, we really are offering a single bundled package of all of these services and products that we talked about. For $19.95, you can get the ePMP 3000 starter bundle, and for $15.95, you get the 3000L starter bundle. It's really limited to one per WISP. That was one of the questions, and this is for North America only. If you're outside of North America, especially if you're in Europe, Middle East, and Africa areas, drop us a note. We're investigating expanding this into that area as well. So if Don't feel like you're left out if you're in the European market. Drop us a note and we'll follow up with you. But anyway, the package itself includes an ePMP 3000. That's the access point with the sector antenna, or you can use the 2x2 access point, which is the 3000L. Comes with 12 of our long-range, high-gain subscriber modules, the Force 325. It comes with a Force 300 connectorized subscriber module that you can mate up with a twist port and a horn antenna from RFelements. Comes with that see and heat trial. So again, I can identify one tower location and we'll give you that detailed heat map and the tools to use that map to identify addresses that I can market the service to. Tazos talk about the RFelements offering, and Dave will talk about VISPnet. And then we kind of tie it all together with a consulting time with one of our senior network engineers to kind of go through best practices, lessons learned, how to avoid pitfalls as you get started with the ePMP 3000. So really what we're interested in doing is helping new WISPs get started, get a sense or a taste of what ePMP and Cambium Networks can offer, and then help you get on your way. So Tazos, did you want to summarize again what RFelements is bringing to the table here?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, we are offering the a twist port adapter to go with the either 1000, 2000, or 3000L. And along with that, one of our either symmetrical, so we have 7 different symmetrical horns, or one of our 3 different asymmetrical horns. And again, which one you get will be based on what your kind of test deployment here is going to look like. We haven't really talked about the 3000. I see questions have come up about how to use the ePMP 3000 in 4x4 with horns. It would require 2 symmetrical or asymmetrical horns to give you the 4 polarizations, but I believe Cambium also has a 4x4 60-degree more MIMO horn system as well. So
yeah. So Tassos, maybe I can kind of go through that question. I responded also. So fundamentally, there's 2 approaches to this multi-user MIMO, folks. The original RFelements horn antennas were the symmetric ones, right, Tassos?
Correct.
And one of the things that was the request for you guys was to get antennas that are higher gain, so then you came up with the asymmetric ones. So Cambium does have a product that leverages the RFelements design that's a dual horn product that can attach to the 3000. It's going to be about 12 dBi gain. So your gain is limited, but it has all the great characteristics of an RFelements horn. And ideally, you want to use this on short distance links where you have high interference, both in the downlink and uplink, especially in the uplink, that this dual horn product will help. So this is a Cambium branded product that we leverage to partnerships with RFelements to create. But it's a 12 dBi symmetric horn. It literally looks like your security lights on the side of your house with 2 round circles next to each other. It was designed to make sure that those are overlapping sectors, so you can point them in the same direction. They're 60 degrees, and they can do the MU-MIMO grouping. There was a lot of requests from the market for ePMP to support the asymmetric horns, which has the higher gain. And we've done some trials already around the higher gain asymmetric horns, where if you make them non-overlapping, pointing in different directions, you can also achieve multi-user MIMO. There is a software release that you would want to request, and I highly recommend posting that request on our forum, community.cambiumnetworks.com, and we can help you with the asymmetric deployment as well. Thanks, Tasso. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure I clear the 2 scenarios up.
No, yeah, that's perfect. So again, just to wrap it up, once you decide which package you're going to go with, 3000 or the 3000L or maybe some other, then we'll talk directly with you. Again, see how you're going to use it, what kind of coverage you're looking for, and then we'll come up with what antenna solution would be best for you. Pretty simple.
Okay, thanks, Tazos. And then Dave, do you want to comment on what VISPnet is offering?
Yeah, so what VISP is doing is they're going to give anybody that's new to Cambium and new to VISP 6 months of free billing. It doesn't matter the size of your WISP. You can migrate as many customers as you want. They'll all be included in the free 6-month window. Also, billing configurations included, network configurations included. We'll set up the hotspots. If you guys want to do hotspots, we'll help you get all that stuff set up. Training and then consulting on what billing best practices is. If you're new to WISP billing and you have kind of an idea, we'll help you figure out the road ahead to get you in the best position possible. So when things like viruses attack our country, you're prepared financially to weather the storm. Things like that, all of that's included free. If you're an existing VISP customer, then the opportunity for you is that we're going to make every single activation you have during the 6-month window free for that 6 months. So it won't be, your existing business will basically freeze your bill where it's at right now, and it'll stay there for 6 months. And then we'll start billing you again at the normal rate. So that's kind of the offer we have. And all of that includes the support.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Dave.
Bruce,
and then go ahead, Skid.
Bruce, I just wanted to, an administrative logistics stuff. Looks like folks are trying to go to the registration page, and we actually do not have a submit button at the end of it. I'm looking into it right now, so if you guys could just wait about 45 minutes or an hour, we'll address that ASAP.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of fundamental to this, but yeah, it was working the other day, so we'll get that. We'll get on top of that right away. But thanks for pointing it out to everybody who tried. I think we've been answering some questions as they've come in. Dave, there looks like there's a fairly technical question on VISP about firewalls. I don't know if you're able to see that on your screen.
I haven't seen it.
It says, is there a particular firewall that's needed to integrate with your system?
No, we integrate through the routers, so it's not required. We will help you with firewall rules because we want to make it possible for your customer to get to the CSM so they can log onto their account, and then to the payment pages so they can make payments. We'll help you with that, but we don't really require, we don't have a recommendation of what firewall you should use.
Okay. And I think I'm just seeing if there's any other. So the question, there's a couple questions here about CN Heat and whether it's available, what regions of the world it's available in. So it's primarily a North America thing. However, wherever there's this detailed LiDAR data, that can be used to expand it. So that data gets updated continuously. So we'd expect you to, or ask you to go to that support page and look on CN Heat, and it'll tell you more details around where it's available. But what really makes the magic of that CN Heat work is that detailed LiDAR data, and we use the data that's been created different regions around the world. And while you do need the CN Heat service to get the information, once you have that information, you can use that within tools and Google Maps and that sort of thing to actually visualize that in a map view. But the detailed heat maps come out of the CN Heat service itself. Okay. Any questions I missed, Saki, Dave, Tazos, that you wanted to comment on further?
Well, I finally did see that question about the firewall controlling packages. So we actually control that through the routers. The speeds and package controls are done through the router. So MikroTik is the one we like to use because MikroTik can handle, they take public IPs, and if you have it on a public IP, we can do things instant on that router. So if you change it from 5 meg to 10 meg, it's instant. If you turn them off, it's instant. Turn them on, it's instant. So that's what we like to use there. There's another question here. What's the normal pricing for this model? We have a $200 minimum, and that equates to 155 paying subscribers. That's $1.30 per active subscriber for less than 1,000, 90 cents for over 1,000, and the 90 cents over 1,000 means subscriber 1 all the way to the end of your number. It's not 1,000 on. And then at 70 cents once you're over 5,000. Does VISP work with Ubiquiti as well as current customers using? Yeah, we're basically access point agnostic, so it doesn't really matter what equipment you're using in the field. We manage the network through the router, and you can use any router that can support radius authentication if you want us to control it. The MikroTik routers give us a lot more flexibility and a lot more user-friendly, so the end user's experience is a little bit nicer using MikroTiks. but they're not the only routers we support. Any router that can handle microtip or radius calls would be supported in the network. They might work a little differently, but they would work. Those are the answers on the questions I see so far. There's no additional cost to the software. It's just the cost per subscriber, period, with a $200 minimum. Throw that in there. Did I get everything?
Okay, I think that's it. Again, thanks everybody for joining. This webinar will be recorded and posted on the on cambiumnetworks.com. I also encourage you to go to community.cambiumnetworks.com, and there's a topic open on this particular promotion. So if you have further questions about it, you can also reach out to me directly, bruce.collins@cambiumnetworks.com, and I can get you pointed in the right direction. And again, we'll double check that to make sure this registration form is up and running. And when we follow up with each of you, we'll comment on that as well. So again, really excited to see the number of people that have attended the webinar. Please share it with your friends once the recording's available, and we look forward to hearing from you down the road. Thanks again, everybody, and again, thanks to our panelists for the presentations today.
Thanks, and bye from RFelements, everybody.
Yeah, bye from this. Thanks for putting this all together, guys.
All right, enjoy the rest of your day, everybody.